Hello, everyone, and welcome to Disney WTF, where we talk about what's the fuss about Disney. We're a Disney couple. One of us is a Disney fanatic, and one of us still just doesn't get it. But somehow we've made a way to make this relationship work.
Yeah.
How you doing today?
I feel so good. I'm so excited to be talking Disney on this lovely afternoon we're having.
And it's a day episode. I love day episodes.
I know, me too.
And I have a new chair.
You do have a new chair. The chair that he was sitting in previously, he says it was uncomfortable, even though it was actually pretty cushioned. So I don't know.
This one's super cushioned now.
Really? It looks way more sturdy. I don't know.
I feel great. Anyway, headlines.
All right. So the first headline I have, Disney stores are being remodeled to look different.
Okay, like Apple. Watch, they're going to look just like Apple.
You know what? It's actually funny you say that because I've seen some soft openings of the remodeled stores online, and they look much more sleek and modern. There's more display cases.
We have to post that.
You're
I
right.
hope we not posted that. All right,
I'm
we'll
sorry.
Post that.
But I don't know. I can't help but think like all of the memories I had at the Disney store at our local mall when I was really young. When I just remember the opening. The scene, like the front case that was just outside the store entrance. It had like Mickey and Minnie, and they were in a canoe, and the canoe would go like this, swaying back and forth.
So it's not Disney stores in Disney. They're the Disney stores for the malls.
Yes.
Okay.
So they're
to be clear.
That was maybe I missed how that wasn't clear.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're gonna start looking different.
Cool.
I don't like change.
Yeah, well, you Disney people don't like change, I guess.
I know.
Are there any Disney people that love like the innovation? Like I wonder if those people out there, or would you say that like most Disney people are like, no? Because I see stuff like often when I'm looking through like Instagram, I usually see like negative comments about change.
It's an interesting question you pose because I would say most Disney people are scared of change. When things do change, I mean, I think that a lot of people understand like, oh, I see what you were doing. But at first we just don't trust.
Yeah, I don't trust you. I don't trust you guys. That's funny.
But I mean, definitely there's people like me who we like the old school stuff.
Yeah.
And that goes all the way right down to the Disney stores at our local mall.
Yeah.
So, but what are you gonna do? It's good to develop the next generation of Disney fans.
Yeah.
So if we think of it like that, then okay, fine. Keep Disney alive that way.
Okay.
All right. So my next headline: Mickey, Minnie, and Donald are doing meet and greets where they move their mouths.
Oh, okay.
And they talk to you. So it's right now, for instance, in Orlando, there's Mickey meet and greets where Mickey's alone and he does talk to you, but now they're doing it as a group. And they're doing only this in Disneyland, though. In Disney California Adventure, to be specific.
Yeah.
So the next time you're out there, you could be meeting Mickey, Minnie, and Donald talking to you about you.
Why is it like such a big deal that they're talking to you about you?
It's pretty...
I really don't understand.
Okay. Back in the day, when you would do meet and greets with any of the characters, they're there, but they don't have much to say to you. They were on the quiet side. Yeah, so they've never actually done meet and greets all together where they're very interactive and their mouths move and they can address you directly and say, wow, I like your green top.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's going to be pretty cool once they bring that over to Orlando. Yeah. It's going to be another moment where I'm going to throw Mackenzie in there, and Minnie can be like, "Hi, Mackenzie," and she's going to be like, "Oh."
So, I wonder if like what the technology is going to be like.
So, now let's talk about what we're going to get into today.
Okay. Today,
I want to go over all the different tours that Disney parks in Walt Disney World offer.
Okay.
And it's a lot. We're going to go over a lot of information, so I just want you to prepare yourself for what you're about to receive.
Okay.
The reason why I want to go into this, so many reasons really, but I really want to do one of these tours because I've never done a tour in Walt Disney World before.
Okay.
Whether it's like a financial reason or a time reason, it doesn't matter because it's going to happen and you're going to be right next to me when we're doing it. So tours, just in general, I think are a great way for Disney fanatics to find and discover another thing that they had no idea about Disney.
Yes.
Which is pretty crazy because you know how we were talking about the change thing earlier? Well, something that Disney people love is to find new things that are Disney. So really we should love change because, ooh, something I haven't done at Disney before, but yet we don't with some things.
Yes, that's true.
So it's a very complicated relationship.
It's a really big contradiction, I think. I
Well-
think that happens often.
Yeah. Like hypocrites?
Not hypocrites, but it's just one of those things that while you don't like change, like the masses probably doesn't like change because, you know, the nostalgic, you know, feelings of what has been there for years. They probably like, for example, like Pandora World, everyone's like super excited. It's hours to wait it. People are like, it's the best ever, you know? So I don't know. I feel like there's like contradictions. Like it's a healthy contradiction, you know, like there's healthy contradictions. And I think that's one of them.
Yeah, I mean, it's our relationship with Disney, and it's deep and it has layers.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah, true.
So here's another thing that's pretty interesting about tours, though, because I think that you, in terms of Disney people, you have a couple of sides to the line where you have the people who want to know what's behind this, you know, what's behind the talking Minnie and Minnie, how do they make this magic happen, and then there's others where it's like, don't tell me all this, I don't want to ruin the magic.
Yeah. I think I'm going to like going on tours more than like regular Disney.
Interesting.
I'm pretty confident like that's going to be a thing for me.
Well,
Is that weird?
You know what? Knowing you, since you like to know how things are created, and I don't think that it's that weird, but I think it's going to be fascinating to see how that changes your perspective of Disney and enjoying going to the parks. Because obviously you can't do a tour every time you go. I mean, you might be able to. Well, I know I hesitated to say it, but you might be able to, but we're probably not.
Yeah.
So there's so many different types of tours where it's like no matter what kind of a mood you're in or what kind of hobbies you may have on the side, you can really find a tour in Disney that can suit anybody.
Yeah.
Any group you have, probably. So it's pretty crazy.
Cool. All right. I'm excited.
All right. So there's so many. I was trying to think about a way to organize everything because we're going to go over so much information. So the best way I thought was to do it by parks and areas.
Okay.
Okay.
So wait, how did you decide again?
So there's different parks they offer tours in different areas.
Gotcha.
So let's start with Magic Kingdom. Okay. So there are a few different types of tours at Magic Kingdom. The most expensive is called Backstage Magic. And I'm gonna give you all the information about what it is, and then I'm gonna ask you how much you think it costs. Okay. So it's actually a 7-hour long tour. Okay, and I said Magic Kingdom, but that's where most of the tour takes place. But you go into a lot of different areas of the whole resort.
Okay.
So you go to Wilderness Lodge to have lunch. You actually get to see behind the laundry facilities where they do actually the most loads of laundry that would blow your mind.
That sounds crazy. I feel like I've seen that like in a hotel where, you know, like you open like one wrong room at a hotel and all of a sudden it's like 1,000 washers. You know, like I wonder if it's like that.
I think it is, except it's probably a building of washers.
Oh, yeah, that's interesting.
Maybe. I don't know. I've never been on the tour.
Yeah.
And you get to see how animatronics work in different rides. You get to see the underground tunnels in Magic Kingdom, which are called the utilidors. So that's how, you know, an employee who works in Tomorrowland will get to Tomorrowland without having to walk through Main Street, USA to ruin the magic.
Yeah.
So
that's the underground stuff, right?
Yes,
yeah,
exactly. Because as you may or may not know, Magic Kingdom is not on the first floor, it's on the second floor because the first floor is the underground tunnel.
Is that ground level or did they dig?
Ground level is the utilidors, which are the tunnels.
That's fairly mind-blowing.
I wasn't sure if we talked about this or not.
So Disney isn't... Dang, that's crazy. So Disney is actually on the second floor. That's a really freaking fun fact.
Yeah. Well,
Fun fact.
Yeah, Magic Kingdom is on the second floor.
Oh, so it's only Magic Kingdom.
You know, I'm not 100% if the other parks have utilidors, but the most famous set of utilidors is in Magic Kingdom.
Okay, so we're gonna find that out. Okay, cool. So anytime you're in Magic Kingdom, you're on floor 2.
Yes.
That's pretty insane. How do they build that?
I mean, it's like building any building, I guess, except that the building is, you know, a million acres
Yeah,
or
but are you
however
on a
big it
building?
is.
Or I really need to know if they dug or if we're on a building. Like, did they build up or build down? Is what I want to know.
They built up, second floor.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. All right. So with all of that information, all the behind the scenes that you can get, included lunch, included water, how much do you think that would cost per person?
$150.
More.
Really? Mm-hmm. 200?
More.
300?
Okay, it's $275.
Oh my god.
So it's
Per person?
$275 per person. Yeah, and I was looking at reviews for this tour, you know, since we are researching to see which tour we want to go on.
Yeah.
And people said that they thought it was expensive.
Yeah, for
obviously.
like the quality or for the value that they got out of it?
The value, yeah. So they say that it's not as behind the scenes as they may have expected. And one of the reviews I read said that the most interesting part was actually the laundry facilities, but like
Really?
in a positive way, because
Yeah.
they couldn't believe
it?
the
Yeah.
laundry facilities.
That's funny.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
So that's basically the most expensive tour that Disney does offer at the moment. You do
Okay.
get
so
to
that's
go
that's top line, like top line stuff.
top of the line stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it gets better. Pricing wise. It's not
Yes.
average.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's good.
So one of the other tours that you can do in Magic Kingdom is called From Marceline to Magic Kingdom, and this also gives you behind the scenes facts about Magic Kingdom. It shares a history of Walt himself, you know, obviously with the reference of Marceline, Missouri, where he grew up. And it does take you behind the scenes of different rides. Most notably, I read that the Haunted Mansion you get to go behind the scenes at. And that's only $49.
Oh, okay. I like that.
It's not as
Is it
long.
also? You're about to get to the time.
Well, it's not as long of a tour. It's only a few hours as opposed to a 7-hour all-day excursion.
Yeah.
So, and it seems pretty affordable. $49. That's like lunch
Yeah.
at Pecos Bill Cafe.
Yeah. And is that prices for everyone, or are there different prices for whether you're a Disney pass holder or not? I wonder if there's discounts.
There are discounts.
Oh, okay.
So each of these tours can be discounted with annual pass holders. They have Visa discounts for some of the tours, AAA discounts.
Yeah.
So you can get those discounts, which I believe for annual pass holders is 15%.
Oh, cool.
So that's pretty decent.
Yeah.
Considering.
Thanks for hooking it up, guys. We appreciate that, Disney.
No suggestion box here.
Yeah.
I know.
I keep forgetting. Okay.
Siri, remind me of my suggestion
Yeah.
box. Yeah. All right. So here is another tour in Magic Kingdom that's more for the whole family. So it's called the Disney Family Magic Tour. And this one sounds pretty fun, even though it might be geared more towards kids. It's a scavenger hunt through Magic Kingdom. And it is 2 hours, and you get to ride rides to find clues, and they take you through the Fast Pass line to get into those rides pretty quick. And you do a scavenger hunt through the whole park.
So it's for kids, and they go like as a group together, kind of thing.
Yeah, with their family members.
Oh, I was gonna say, because you know what that kind of sounds like when you go do ski school, like when you go to like snowboarding or skiing and you do ski school.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, like little kids going with like a you know, tour guide and stuff like that. I don't know. Is there there should be like a Disney school, like to like guide people, even for adults, like because when you get to Disney, you have no idea what you're walking into.
Yeah, that's true.
Right? There should be like a little kiosk or something to say, hey, do you need like a tour, like a normal tour? Which I guess is kind of what these things are, but no, because some of these are like behind the scenes. Whereas like I need like a like Disney 101 tour when I show up.
You know what's interesting? Disney does offer services where they have like I don't know exactly what they're called, but they're more like a concierge cast member, and they're paid by the hour.
Okay.
And they go with you everywhere. They'll do
so
everything
that's-
for you
that's
too.
kinda what it is,
They'll
then.
push your stroller with your baby in it. They'll
It's like an assistant.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's like, here's my Disney personal assistant.
Yeah.
And you get to go through fast pass lines. Like, oh, I think I really want to ride Space Mountain. Or what kind of, what thrill ride should we do next? Oh, let's do Space Mountain. Maybe she would recommend, he or she would recommend.
Oh, that's pretty cool. Okay.
Yeah. So they do offer that type of service, which is interesting because Disney was like, people are going to want this. Let's charge them for it.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
I like it.
So reviews on the Disney Magic Family Tour were very, very positive, fun for the family, and it's $39 a person.
That's not bad at all.
Yeah.
I like that.
So it sounds, again, super fun, even for adults alone.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I don't think we would do that one, though.
Why?
I don't know. I don't want to do a scavenger hunt. I want to learn behind the scenes stuff.
Well, okay. Here's
Like,
a
I don't want to pay to do a scavenger hunt.
Yeah.
Like, pay, like, like a guided scavenger hunt. I want to pay, like, I want to see some secret stuff.
Okay. So then maybe the Keys to the Kingdom tour would be more appropriate for you.
Is that next on the list?
It is next on the list.
Cool.
So the way this tour was described by the reviews I read was it was from Marceline to Magic Kingdom, but like on steroids.
Okay.
So it was more in-depth, more behind-the-scenes trivia, more fun facts about how Magic Kingdom was created. And at $99 a person, people thought that it was a great value for the information that you got. So it's a 5-hour-long tour, so it's definitely
Sounds right in the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Sounds like.
Yeah, I'm going to go take a nap after this tour. So it does give you more in-depth information and more fun facts, more behind the scenes, and you still get to go to do some of the things that you did on the From Marceline to Magic Kingdom tour.
Yeah, cool.
So that's another option that you could do. And it does sound like it is the sweet spot. So, I mean, you figure $99, that's about the cost of a park ticket at this point, not including any discounts, of course. It sounds like something I would love to do.
Yeah. That might be a favorite for mine so far.
So far?
Yeah.
How do you feel knowing that you could probably get most of this information from these tours online and you don't have to pay the $99? Would you still do it?
I would. I mean, I would because we're going to be there anyway. But I think if I was at home, and I wasn't planning on going to Disney or Disney was hard to get to, I don't know if I would. Because if Disney was hard to get to, I'd rather experience stuff without paying extra being at Disney versus, having to pay extra on top of my park ticket that I paid to get there because I can only get there once a year. So I think that depends, really. But personally, I would probably, probably just go online and look it all up and do that kind of stuff. But obviously because we're there and we have passes, I think it makes sense to, and obviously we're, a quote-unquote Disney couple, so
allegedly.
So it would
it's more like a Disney person plus one.
Yeah.
This is my plus one.
Yes. Anyway.
His name is Richie. All right. So okay, that's good to know though. Because even so, I think to myself that same question: like, do I want to pay this money? That's almost as much of a park ticket. It's a quarter of what I pay for my annual pass every year to find these things that I could do online. But from a Disney person aspect, it's just so much better to see it in person while you're hearing the fun facts.
Yeah. Plus, too, I'm sure like it's different because, you can read facts and see videos and stuff online, but I think when you're there, that person that is guiding you through that tour probably has some crazy connection to something there that has some story that's unique to them, and then also, you can witness the passion that they probably have. So there's all those other things that you wouldn't get if you watched online.
Yeah. That's true.
Like, for example, when we went to the Wilderness Lodge, when we went into the train room, we could have seen that online. We could have heard or read online, oh, look, the Wilderness Lodge has a train room. But we met the guy that was super passionate about trains of Disney and talked to us about the story that he had riding that train in Disneyland when he was like a little boy. Like that type of thing you wouldn't get online. You'd only get there. So
yeah, so that cast member experience is what made the difference in seeing these things and not just reading facts.
Exactly.
Yeah, I totally agree. So, oh my gosh, I'm really proud of you.
Yes.
All right. So those are the types of tours that are offered at Magic Kingdom. So there's obviously a lot to choose from, a little bit something for everybody, a little bit something for everybody's budget.
Yeah.
Now we're going to move on to Animal Kingdom, which I'm really...
I thought, you know, it's funny. I was like, oh, the episode's done. It was just one park.
Oh, no. You think I've been researching for this long and there was just those? Oh, my goodness. All right, so now we're going to go on to Animal Kingdom, which I was really surprised had so many tours available. So the first one I want to talk about is called Backstage Tales, and it's almost 4 hours long, and they list it as 3 hours and 45 minutes. And you get to go behind the scenes at Kilimanjaro safaris and the animal housing areas. You get to learn more about how Disney contributes to their conservation fund and where those funds go.
Yeah.
You get to see the veterinary hospital that's housed in Animal Kingdom. And it seems like if you're an animal lover, especially of the larger type animals, you can get in touch with how they are taken care of at Animal Kingdom so much more.
Yeah. That's really interesting. I'm sure, you know, especially the animal lovers would love that. And, you know, it's also probably good, too, for, you know, the person that isn't too, you know, keen on zoos, you know, people that don't like zoos, they can probably get a behind-the-scenes look as to how well the animals are being taken care of. And
like the morality of zoos.
Exactly. And how well the cast members love what they're doing and like kind of breaking, I guess, the stereotype of like animals being mistreated at these places and things like that. So
yeah, and this tour is $90, so it's kind of pricey, I think. But if you're an animal lover, then this is probably right up your alley. And they do list it as having a small group, so you can be really in touch with the cast member, ask a lot of questions, and yeah, you even might be able to see an elephant getting like washed or something.
Feel like to do that, you need to have like hiking boots, though. It seems like. You
know what? There is a tour where you... fine, we'll just go into that right now.
Okay.
There's a tour in Animal Kingdom called the Wild Africa Trek.
Okay.
And in this tour, you literally go off the grid, in air quotes, to walk along grassy paths through the Kilimanjaro safari area.
Oh, okay.
And you get to get really close to the animals. I think we've seen them actually on our safaris.
Yeah, what are you talking about?
Yeah, and you get it's such an intense journey that you have to wear a vest that has hooks to a cable so that when you're walking across these treacherous bridges that they've constructed, you don't lose your balance and fall.
And fall and get eaten by a hippo.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah. And you know what is cool about the Wild Africa Trek, which is one of the reason why the way this is one of the top ones on my list, is there is a lovely lunch that's provided.
Oh, okay.
That's unique to the tour. So it's not at a restaurant that, let's go here to Flame Tree Barbecue, which I would love, but you know, let's not go here to Flame Tree Barbecue. We're gonna have you sit in a special designated area where it's out looking the savannah, and you can eat.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
It sounds pretty cool.
I think that's the one in Animal Kingdom. I don't know how much more we're gonna talk about, but I remember doing the riding the Kilimanjaro safari and seeing that. Oh, I want to be those people back there.
Yeah, you did say that. It
sounds like they're getting some great knowledge and seeing some cool stuff. So that right now is like my park favorite for there. But.
Okay, let's just do this one more time. How much do you think it's going to cost to do that?
Didn't you say it was like $90? Or that was the first one?
That was the first one.
$175. More? Is
think of lunch is included.
Oh, but it's less than $275.
Yeah, it is.
So $220.
$249.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So it's definitely one of the more pricey experiences, especially for two people. You think, wow, it's $500 minus 15%. But it seems like a one-of-a-kind experience, a once-in-a-lifetime experience, because I don't, people might want to do it more than once, but really, like, you can probably get the full grasp of it in one take.
Yeah.
So definitely something to think about. If you are a person who really likes elephants, there's also a tour in Animal Kingdom called Caring for Giants. And it's specifically devoted to the African elephants.
Yeah,
and it's only an hour long, so you can definitely fit it in your schedule.
Yeah.
I've got time between my Fast Pass for Dinosaur and Everest. Let me go do this tour, which you do have to pre-book, by the way, all these tours. It's only $30, so it's fun if you have like kids who are interested in elephants and you just want a fun experience for them, you know.
You probably learned so much about elephants. I would do this one too, actually.
You would?
Yeah.
And you get to speak to the specialists who care for these elephants in the park. You get to actually meet native people from Africa and what their relationship with elephants are like in Africa. So they go over, this is how I keep my crops protected from the elephants and like things like that you would never hear just, if you didn't take the tour.
Elephants are giants. Like,
they are.
They're such a fascinating creature. Like, there's so many crazy things about an elephant that you could probably learn on that tour.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Yeah, like their gestation period being 20-something months.
Yeah.
Couldn't imagine that. So yeah, that's just another thing that you can do at Animal Kingdom. And yet, there's another tour in Animal Kingdom, believe it or not. So the next one, okay. I'm going to venture to say this. I'm just going to put this out there so that when I have your final answer at the end of the show on what tour you want to do, this is probably the tour that I most want to do. And it's called Savor the Savannah. And it's kind of like you go on a special safari in the evening time and you get to get an unglimpsed view of the savannah that you normally wouldn't get. And there's a special dinner afterwards that includes special African tapas, beer, and wine. So it's very, very romantic.
Yeah, that sounds cool.
You don't sound interested at all.
No. I'm actually still thinking, like, because you pretty much posed a question with, like, and then started talking, and then I started thinking about the question of which one I would want to do. So that's why I didn't seem as interested, because I was already thinking about some of the other ones that I wanted to do.
Well, the reviews on this one are also really, really positive.
Yeah.
They say it maybe is a little bit pricey at $169 for the experience that you get. But I just think what kind of a unique way to just have a beautiful dinner, be with the ones you love, and take in a whole new side of the safari that you wouldn't get if you weren't on this tour.
Yeah.
So definitely something to think about for you. All right. So there's no more in Animal Kingdom.
Okay.
There's no more tours. But that was a lot.
Yeah, that was a lot. But how many tours were in each?
So in Animal Kingdom, 4 tours are offered.
Okay.
In Magic Kingdom, there's 4 tours that are offered.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
That's what I was wondering, Chris. So it's the same amount of tours for both of those. Now, go ahead.
But I wouldn't expect Animal Kingdom to have that many tours, I guess.
I mean, it's the biggest. I saw a fact recently. It's like the biggest park ever.
It is.
In terms of,
in terms of land
that kind of
size.
makes a little sense too. And then, whereas I think Magic Kingdom is, kind of the pinnacle of Disney. So that's also like important as to why maybe they have 4 also. So.
Well, interestingly enough, based on my count, Epcot has the most tours available.
Oh, okay, cool.
So the first one is called the Epcot Seas Adventure, and there's a couple you could do. There's the Aqua Tour, and then there's the Dive Quest, both of which put you in the water of the living seas where all the aquatic life swim and there's coral reef to paddle over. The differences are, though...
Reefs there and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Haven't you seen them?
No.
We might have to go back then.
Okay.
So in the Living Seas Pavilion, there's a giant, massive water tank aquarium where they have sharks, dolphins, turtles, fish, coral reefs. It's really, really massive.
That's fake, right?
No. What do you mean fake? What's your definition of fake here?
In Epcot?
Yes.
A real live shark swimming around somewhere?
Yes. 100%. All right, well, I know what we're going to do when we go to Epcot in a week.
Okay.
We have to
run. There's really sharks there?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
I'm not even kidding. And you know what? To further my point about these tours, you can swim with the sharks on these
I'm not
tours.
doing any of that.
All right. Darn it, because they sounded kind of interesting.
Yeah, I don't want to, like, unless I'm, I don't want to do that. I don't think I want to go in the water and swim with the sharks.
Well, the 2 differences between these tours is one is a snorkeling tour where they do offer you a float assist. If you can't quite hover in the water, they have mechanisms to help you float so that you can keep your face down. And
where the hell is this? I've never seen any of this stuff.
It's in Epcot. It's all in Epcot.
Okay.
And you know what? I partially blame myself because I always have a very specific agenda when we go to parks. So maybe I've neglected to include this on our journeys.
I've never heard about any of this stuff.
My apologies, Ricard.
Okay.
So the actual the dive quest, you do have to be scuba certified. So in this one, you go even deeper and even closer in these water tanks.
God.
You see, his face is really mind blown. I feel bad now.
That's crazy. How much is that tour?
So the Aqua Tour, where you snorkel, is $145, and the Dive Quest is $179.
Okay.
And the actual water time is between 30 and 40 minutes, but depending on which tour you go on. But it's not just the actual snorkeling part or diving part.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see how the tanks are maintained. You get to go behind the scenes of these massive aquariums that Disney has constructed.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool if you're into water activities, I think. And I'm not a huge water person, but I really want to do the Aqua Tour.
I feel much more comfortable on land. Like I'd feel much more comfortable in the Kilimanjaro back behind the scenes.
Okay.
Like if you had to throw me somewhere, I'd rather be thrown on land with the elephants versus thrown in the water with fish.
You know, elephants are very dangerous.
No, I know, but so are sharks. But I just feel more capable on land than I do in water.
I feel like you'd be more attractive to an elephant, though.
No, I wouldn't.
How do you know?
I don't. But
Neither
I just
do I.
know that I'd have more chance of surviving if I had my feet working properly. Versus like in water.
In flippers, like flip, 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 flip,
Yeah.
flip, flip. And then, oh my gosh, I see it like a cartoon, and you get like scared because something's coming towards you, and you're like,
Yeah, freak out. Yeah.
yeah, you definitely go crazy. Okay, how about this? Let's move to dry land in
Okay.
Epcot, because I think this is way more your style.
Okay, yes.
You can take garden tours and talk to the people who construct the gardens of Epcot and how they tell stories with all the beautiful flowers and horticulture that they construct at that park.
That's cool because you know what that's cool to me? I'm fairly fascinated by flowers
You are.
because I remember, learning about how flowers are like they have, reproductive capabilities and there's like male, female, and like they're very, lifelike, whereas a lot of people when they think about like plants and stuff like that, people eat them and there's like that's another thing too that actually is weird, but it confuses me because like, people that are vegetarians, like they don't eat like animals and things like that, and like because for social reasons. But then you think about plants, like these things live, they have feelings, they reproduce. I don't know. That's pretty fascinating.
Tell
to
me more about what you know about plants having feelings, because that sounds very interesting.
Like, well, I'm not gonna say that they have feelings and emotions, but like you can injure a plant and it can die.
Yeah, as we noticed during the hurricane.
Yeah, so I just think that, and they grow and they also eat. Like there's that one plant that's like a flycatcher. Like, I don't know.
Well,
Plants are fascinating to me.
No, they definitely are. And speaking of injuring plants, like there's a ton. Whenever you go near a bamboo, how do I say it? Like a bamboo forest or a bamboo garden that's been constructed specifically to be there, they always say don't carve in the bamboo because it hurts the bamboo and it makes them prone to disease.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'm on board with what you're saying.
Yeah, so that's why I would be fairly interested in doing a plant tour to likely see other passionate people about plants.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and we definitely need to work on our landscaping on the home front. So this could be, and this is one of the recommendations that they have in the description. Like if you're an at-home gardener, get inspired by the gardens at Epcot.
Oh, that's cool.
And they have different versions of it too. They have a fall version and they have a spring version.
Yeah.
And then they have the storytelling version. So there's a lot of different ways that you can take this tour. So it just sounds super awesome and very, very, it's one of those things where you gotta get your camera ready.
Yeah.
Because not on all these tours, you can't take a whole lot of pictures because so much of it is behind the scenes that they don't allow you to take pictures.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, that's a fun fact.
Yeah, so, but it makes sense because they're already think about the internet and how much of these tours can be found on the internet now. At least there's no picture evidence, so it does make people want to go discover the magic on their own instead of it being splashed away by...
So when you asked me earlier about, would I rather go online and see this stuff, it's not available online because they don't allow you, right? Or...
Well, I would say that the facts are probably available online, but maybe not the actual
Or
photos.
like a YouTube video of like going through it all kind
Yeah,
of thing. Like
yeah.
how they have for the rides. Oh, okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
And so just facts here.
Mm-hmm.
The Gardens tour is 3 hours long, $85, and a lot of good reviews again, because especially if you're into gardening.
Yeah.
You know? And mind you, a lot of these tours require a lot of walking. Most of them. I think there might be a Segway tour that I might have not seen. Oh, or swimming. Yes. That's true. Let's not forget that one.
Yeah.
So another tour that involves kind of gardening is Behind the Seeds, which, remember the ride Living with the Land?
I do.
And you remember seeing that there were people on a tour within the ride?
Yeah.
And yeah, you can go on that tour. And it's an hour long. It's only $25. And you can learn about how they cultivate the gardens. You can see these giant sunflowers, these giant vegetables that they grow up close. You get to visit the fish farm that they have inside the ride and learn more about it. And depending on the time of the year, there might be a ladybug release because they are natural pest killers, ladybugs.
Ladybugs kill other animals?
I think so.
Well, you have to double check that because that doesn't sound legit.
I heard that instead of using pesticides, they use ladybugs. In fact, I think that's a quote from the ride.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So
I believe Disney.
the good thing about this particular tour is that it's not long. It's short. You can fit it in just in a day, and it's not expensive. So if you want to learn a little bit more about living with the land, then you can do that for only $25.
You know what's also important about that?
What?
There's no sharks that can kill you.
You're not wrong.
Yeah.
All right. So the last tour that I have to present to you on our menu of tours is called Undiscovered Future World. Undiscovered Future World. Blech. Undiscovered Future World.
Okay.
At $69, you can take this tour again through Epcot and learn more about the history of Epcot. And you actually go from the lands in Future World, which is not, so anything that's not World Showcase, where all the countries are, is considered Future World.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
So you can learn about how they were constructed, what were the engineering feats that went into building them. You learn more about Walt's vision of what Epcot was supposed to be and how it was supposed to be this utopia that was never realized.
Yeah.
And so this was actually one of the least favorable reviewed tours. And mind you, they all got great reviews. But for some reason, this
Oh, you
one...
mean in terms of number, not in terms of quality?
No, I'm talking in terms of I say quality hesitatingly because they're probably all awesome to a Disney lover.
Yeah.
But I think that they said that it was too educational, like too textbook educational,
Oh, okay.
and not what they were expecting it to be.
Yeah.
I suppose.
Interesting.
But I think that you would particularly love that tour because you get to learn a lot about Walt's vision and what he saw for the future of Epcot and how they organized these massive pavilions into becoming one unified future world.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and that one is only $69, so.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think of Epcot, that would probably be my go-to if, like, you're like, okay, we have to do a tour at Epcot. That would be the one I would choose.
You wouldn't choose the gardening one? Really?
No, because I think that I would rather learn about, like, the architecture and building and Walt's vision versus plant life. Although I do love plant life. But then I think that Animal Kingdom would be good for, like, outdoor stuff, which I would assume would include some form of plant life. Even though it's Animal Kingdom. I don't know. But
all right.
I don't know. That's how my thought process on that would go.
Yeah.
Because all the tours that you talked about, none of them really spoke about, the vision of Walt in terms of, which I'm sure they all have.
Yeah.
But it seems like that one was, like, real focused on it.
Yeah.
So.
Well, that, and I think that the ones in Magic Kingdom, like the more in-depth ones, also talk a lot about what Walt saw and why Magic Kingdom is the way it is.
Yeah.
So, okay. I'm going to have you go first. Which tour would you most like to go on?
For you had to pick one out of all the parks?
Well, if you have more than one, we can take that.
The two ones that I would be the most interested in doing is probably the now it's like a toss up for my number. For my number one, I would definitely say the Kilimanjaro one. I would definitely want to do that one.
The one, which one?
The one that you go and like you get strapped and you have to walk. And
okay, so that's the Wild Africa Trek.
Yeah, I would do. That's probably number one. It would be a toss up for number two between the one at Magic Kingdom that's you see like behind the scenes stuff.
Okay.
I forgot the name of it. Or the one at Epcot where you see more of Walt's vision and architecture and things like that.
So it's very interesting because I see you with your tour choices, and a lot of it is about the history of Disney World.
Yeah.
You know, and I think a lot of that has to do with you developing a new relationship with Disney and you're wanting to kind of learn more.
Yeah.
So, that's really good.
Okay.
That's really good. And I gotta say, I'm sorry, I disagree. We would not be on the same tour because I'm gonna be taking a different tour.
Which one would you? What's your number one?
So I want to do, I think I already said this, I want to do Savor the Savannah.
Yeah.
So I'll be alone eating and drinking by myself.
Okay.
And I wouldn't mind doing a garden tour at Epcot. I would love to hear how they construct stories with flowers.
Yeah.
How fascinating is that?
That's true. I see.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
We shall.
I'll just have to, okay, we shall. Yes. Eventually, I hope to take all of them, though.
Yeah. That'd be a good plan to try to do everything.
Like a bucket list thing?
Yeah. Which is crazy because that's just at WDW.
I know.
Like, who knows what the tours are like, you know, what the options are at a different park or whatever. Quick question, though. Is there, I don't know if you saw this in any of what you were looking at, but are there private tours
Yes.
that are not like run by Disney?
There are actually. So the one that comes to mind, Lou Mangello does offer private tours of Disney.
Oh, okay.
Of course he does, right?
Yeah.
So, I mean, you can hire Lou Mangello and he'll take you around Magic Kingdom, probably, I want to say, probably offering a more in-depth experience just because it's going to be a lot more personal.
Yeah.
If it's just going to be you in a tiny group with Lou Mangello.
I wonder though, like, does Disney allow? Is that well? Obviously, it allows it maybe for him, but I wonder if he's like, I wonder what the rules are on that. Like, can I just show up and put a website up online and say, "Hey guys, I'm doing Disney tours, $50."
Well,
1 hour.
how is it any different than me saying, like, I'm going with my pal, they know a lot about Disney, and we're just gonna walk and see what they tell me.
Yeah, well,
like, it's exactly the same.
Yeah, but I'm just wondering, like, because I don't like to break rules, so I would like to know if there would be like a rule against it, or if it's just like not mentioned, or if it's fairly welcome.
Well, he was a lawyer, so I hope he looked into that.
Yeah, or he could be, you know, like have a contract with them or something saying that, like, yeah, you can do tours.
I wonder.
Even though it's not like, you know, Disney offered or whatever. So, I don't know. That's something interesting to look into.
Yeah.
Cool.
All right, Ricard. Well, thank you so much for sitting here with me and talking about all of the tours that we're going to do in our life.
Yes. In our life. So, that's all we have for today?
That's all I've got for today.
Cool. Well, if you're listening, I need a huge favor from anyone that's listening right now, especially if you're listening on iTunes. If you could please go on iTunes and just leave us a rating and a comment. Let us know what you think. Just say hi. Tell us you like it. Tell us you don't really like it. And whatever it is, just if you can do us a huge favor and go on iTunes and give us a rating, we'd really appreciate it.
We would. And we're also available on Facebook. We're available on Instagram, DisneyWTF.radio. We're available on Medium, medium.com/DisneyWTF, where we have a couple of fun articles if you want to read.
Yes. And we're also on Twitter and on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, we'd also appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button, leave us a comment. We'd appreciate to see what your thoughts are.
So everyone, thank you so much for hanging out with us, talking some Disney. We hope to see you next time. We hope you have a very magical day. Goodbye.